So today I'm making some lefse, which is a Norwegian flatbread. It's traditional to eat this around holiday time. And so I want to show you the necessary things that you need to make lefse and show you how I make it. So I have here a lefse griddle, a lefse turning stick, and this one I'll use to actually roll the lefse onto and turn it onto the lefse grill. I have a cloth covered pastry board and a cloth covered rolling pin, and then over here I have some pastry cloths that I'm using to turn the cooked lefse onto so that it can steam in between these two pastry cloths. And over here I have boiled 8 cups of cubed peeled potatoes, and I'm going to show you what I'll do with those as well. Okay, so I'm going to do this in 2 parts because I've decided to try 2 different recipes, one with butter and one without butter, and compare and decide if we like the buttered one better. And so this is the buttered recipe. I have 4 cups of potatoes, and typically most people use a ricer, but because I don't have a ricer, I'm just going to blend. I'm going to use my hand mixer in order to try to get all the lumps out of the potatoes. So to the 4 cups of potatoes, I have a half a stick of butter, and I've cubed the butter here. So I'm going to add that, and then I will add a half a cup of whipping cream. And I need a teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar. So I've added 2 teaspoons of sugar, and I'm going to add a little less than a teaspoon of salt. So then I'm going to blend these just like you would mashed potatoes and try to get all the lumps out. I think that's pretty good. Now the next step is really important. You have to let the potatoes cool completely before adding the flour. And over here I have 1.5 cups of flour measured out. And so once this cools, I'll just put the potatoes inside of the flour, and then we can start grilling once you mix that. The next step is going to be adding the flour to the cooled potato mixture. So I have 1.5 cups of flour that I'm going to put inside of the potatoes. So I'm just going to kind of do a top layer there and try to work the flour in evenly. Going to become the consistency of a bread dough. It's obviously going to be very sticky though. It's a very sticky kind of dough. Okay. Make sure to work the flour into the potato mixture. Okay, once it appears to have evenly mixed, you're going to want to knead your dough about 10 times. So I'm going to kind of gather it. Oops. Anyway, and just knead it to really work the flour into the dough. Like I said, it's very sticky, so you might want to flour your hands before doing this, which I forgot to do. Whoops. Sorry. Well, that looks pretty good to me. So that's what your end product's going to look like. It's a really sticky dough. So then, for the 4 cups of potatoes and 1.5 cups of flour, I can, this will make 12 lefse. So, okay, sorry, really sticky. So, you're going to use, you can either use an ice cream scoop, a larger one, or I have a 1/3 of a cup, measuring cup, and I'm going to scoop these into 12 balls and roll them out. So I have floured my pastry board and also heavily floured my pastry cloth rolling pin, whatever, pastry lined rolling pin. And so I've preheated my Lefse grill to 500 degrees. Not quite actually, it's more like 475, so I'm going to turn it up just slightly. It's kind of a guessing game with the first Lefse. I think it should work around 475, but we'll see. So I wanted to also mention one more thing. I have just a brush, and I use this for dusting any excess of flour off of the Lefse pan, because you don't want burned flour in your Lefse. So I will put down a little bit of flour. You want to really make sure that this is really floured well, because this dough is very sticky. It's kind of a tricky process, because you don't want it too floury but not too little either. So I have nearly a 1/3 of a cup there. This is my first Lefse, so I'm going to just kind of see how it works here. So I pat it down a little bit, making sure to evenly coat it in flour. And then I'm going to start rolling. So you just lightly press on it. Don't press hard at all, because this dough is so sticky that it'll get into the cloth. So you just roll it this way. I try to keep it in a circular shape, so I just kind of alternate my rolling pin so that I can keep it in that shape. So about every other time I switch directions. Then you want to roll this out very thinly. About the width of a tortilla, I would say. Maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. You want it really thin, but not too thin. It's a so. looks about perfect. So now I take this Lefse stick, and this one I use for turning it onto the grill. So you just grab the edge and you start it there, and you just roll it onto your stick. You can see I have a lot of flour on that other side, so I might kind of dust it off. I don't want too much flour on my Lefse. So, and then you just roll it out onto the Lefse pan. Ooh, I got a couple cracks, so that's okay. It's not quite circular, but close enough. And then I kind of lightly try to pinch the holes, but you certainly don't have to do that. And so then I let it cook on one side for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'll check it with this Lefse turning stick and just see if it's evenly browning. You definitely don't want any wet spots in it, so if you see any kind of like lighter wet spot, you know it's not done cooking on that side. So you want to cook it, see how it's bubbling up here. That's a good sign. That means the grill is high enough. It's not sticking. That's another good sign. So lift it up. Yeah, it's gonna take another maybe minute. Okay. So start another one while I'm waiting. It's my first one, so I just kind of want to make sure that I watch it really closely. I think it's probably time to turn it to the, oh no, definitely not time. Okay, so maybe I'm off on the times. Maybe give it more like four minutes. Not sure the temperature isn't quite enough. Okay, so on my second Lefse. I'm doing a little less than a third of a cup. A third of a cup is pretty big. That was a little less than a third. So I have quite a bit of flour on there, so I'm just going to roll it on. Starting to steam, so I think I'll check it. Yep, that looks perfect. That's about what you want to see. There's no wet spots, like I said. It looks evenly cooked through. Here, I'm going to cook this one. That looks pretty good as well. So this is working well. So I wanted to show you the finished product of my first Lefse. I have a couple little cracks, but other than that, it looks pretty good. It's very evenly browned. And that's what you want your Lefse to look like. It's cooked all the way through, and it just looks great. So then I take the Lefse and I put it in between the two pastry cloths. And you need to cover it up. There are some special Lefse cloths, but I don't have those, so I just use 2 pastry cloths, and just leave it there to cool. And the steam from the other ones will continue. You'll keep piling them on top of each other, and it'll keep your. So when your Lefse is finished, when you're done, you can. A lot of people like to put cinnamon butter, and sugar, or just butter. Here we've put some peach jam. Whatever's your favorite jam or topping. It's usually eaten with something sweet. So here's the finished Lefse. This has obviously been eaten a little bit, but so there you have it. That's how you make Lefse.